Okay, so today we're going to be uh, interviewing 9-year professional player. He's not retired, Brandon Wong. You may remember him from a lot of teams, I believe, well, 2 teams in specific that I can think of right now, Evansville Iceman and the Greenville Red Warriors. He was a big presence in the Red Warriors organization. A lot of people probably still keep up with him and still know him and still remember him. So I'm going to pause the recording right now and we'll start it again once he is in. Welcome. First of all, thank
you in there, Nathan. Nice hat.
Should we just jump right in?
If you want to. Give me 1 second here. How's everything going?
It's going great.
Okay. Let's see here. Got a good background like that. Outside. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Ready?
Sounds good.
Okay. What would you say is the main purpose of creating Brandon Wong Hockey?
The main purpose is to help kids, I guess, go for their goals and dreams and have opportunities to not only get better at hockey, to become stronger and better people, but also to have the exposure, for especially locally and all over. There's lots of different little areas geographically that some players don't have the exposure like some of the players do. For example, I feel like in the cities, big cities, you take kind of any of them like Chicago, New York, Vancouver, Toronto, all these cities that, it's filled with a lot of players and coaches and let's say NHLers or lots of scouts in those areas to really scout at who the players are. But, there are a lot of late bloomers and players that, don't quite get the opportunities that some do, and those chances that I think that if they were to be put in different situations, whether more playing time or sometimes it's skill sessions or camps that they can go to, they may rise to the challenge and impress someone out there. There's lots of sets of eyes out there.
Okay, great answer. When you retired, you started to coach with, BWH. What made you want to get into coaching clinics?
I think parts of me, I've always been a coach. I found that, I've always found that I was some sort of leader on the team, whether it was through like work ethic or passion for hockey. I was always found that I was an assistant captain at all levels: minor hockey, junior hockey, college hockey, and then even in the pros, I was always an assistant captain. I don't think I've really ever been the captain. There might have been one time, and even filling in for one of the captains that was sick, injured, or missing for a little bit of time. But I just always found to put my energy and passion towards coaching. And even at a young age, I was coaching my cousins and brothers' teams. They're 4 years younger than me. Another cousin that's eight years younger than me. So I remember doing a lot of that mentorship stuff, going on the ice, just doing drills with them. As I got older, I would obviously be taking more of the coaching approach and explaining drills and just giving them little tips of what I'd like to, just kind of like what I'm doing now. And this is kind of who I am. I think I remember being about 17, 18 years old when I was in the ECHL playing, doing well. And my cousin's team was actually the Island Stars, a team that my uncle had just started up, just a nonprofit, just kind of pay to play as a team. And we went to, I think, 2 or 3 tournaments. And I remember that they always said that they came second, and I was an assistant coach on the team, but really cool that a head coach, Steve Heisler, who has worked at Burnaby Winter Club before and came over to the Victoria Rack Club, he kind of allowed me to kind of just give back to some of the kids of where I've been as a junior player, and he just kind of let me run the forwards and kind of do as I pleased, and it actually turned out great, and I'm very appreciative for that stuff. Is sometimes I think the older ages and older people like to have their control and do it the way they want to, but I was able to have that freedom and just pass on to the players what I was doing. And actually, so that year we were at the Challenge Cup and we actually won in overtime, coming in first place and beating out that whatever team that used to beat the Stars all the time. I believe it was the BC Bears, possibly.
There's a lot of different reasons a player might retire, and a lot of players like to keep playing as long as they can. What would you say is the main factor in your retirement?
Main factor? Well, there was a number of things. I think some of the main factors was that I'm getting older and in the business, my playing time wasn't, I wasn't as happy with that an opportunity. Meanwhile, I guess in the outside of things, I think I had some ideas of what I kind of wanting to do. So I was using my time wisely to study, especially social media, e-commerce and what that type of stuff I was doing. So I was able to have somewhat of a transition, and turns out I know I'm only in my third year and tons still to learn, but really cool to have a job like this and people to believe in what I'm doing and see the results, not only from their own kids, but to the community, to players, and hoping to give them more opportunity. And it's not just locally. I've worked with kids all over. There's a couple of kids, guys, a little bit older in the junior ranks in Croatia. There's players all over USA that I work with, and in Canada here, right from the West Coast here to the East Coast. There's some guys in the QMJHL and the OHL and USHL, NHL, and all these different leagues.
Did you always have the plan to become a coach when you retired from hockey, or is that just a, split time decision that you made at the end?
No, I knew I was always some sort of a coach. I just always had the passion and enjoyed helping kids out. I think that's why I'm enjoying what I'm doing so much right now. Is I don't just have to go for wins or losses, because at the end of the day, just because we'll take any type of player, just because Sidney Crosby lost the game back then is not really, it has affected him in a way where he is today, like learning off that stuff. But like, just because he lost the championship doesn't mean he's not going to carry on for the rest of his career. Right. So I'm big on the development side of players having opportunity to play in different situations. And that's not just scoring goals, but even in their weaknesses to play defense, maybe even play defense. If forwards that play defense, penalty killing, guys that go into the 6-on-5 role to hold on to the lead, that type of stuff, and feel the pressure and develop as, of course, players, but directly also too, they're learning as people, their mindset, how to deal with pressure, how to execute and get the job done that the coaches want them to do.
Okay, that was an amazing answer. I was not expecting it to be that well put together. Who was your favorite player to play alongside? Why would you choose to have that player on your side if you came back?
That's a good question. There's lots of players. Are we talking like NHL or just anyone?
Any league, any person that you played with, charity games?
With well, I guess recently just a close friend that I've had on with the Zoom calls myself is one guy I definitely would stick by is our old captain, TJ Reynolds with the Greenville Road Warriors. I think Rennie was a great leader. Not only was he really good personally with a lot of the guys, but he made sure we did our jobs, and especially the young players, just making sure we knew what we had to do to, if we wanted to play in the next level, then you got to do more and got to be fully committed. If you wanted to just play it out and do well, you got to still stay focused on what the team needs to do, practice, off ice stuff and games, and just kind of pushing each other and making sure it's based on each individual. Everyone has their different goals, but I think he's one guy, especially being a leader, and now calling him a close friend, I guess today, able to call him up and do that. I think there's lots of other players I've been mentored by. One guy, Martin Korea, who lived with me back in when I think I was about 12 years old. He's Paul Cree's brother. We billeted him and he came into our house, and he was part of the BCHL Victoria Salsa, but at the same time he showed just the way he was, very disciplined, focused on what he wanted, scholarship, and yeah, good schooling to do well in hockey. He just showed that to myself. So I feel like he's a great mentor to have around. And then even in the pros, I think early on I had Brad May there that, he was great for all the young guys in Grand Rapids. Even though my short stint was there, I really looked up to him, to how he approached, I guess, the game, but also the leadership part of hanging around with the young guys and making sure that, they same kind of thing as TJ Reynolds, just keeping them accountable and helping them out with any advice and that type of thing going forward with their career.
Okay. Who is your favorite team to play with? I know you've played with a bunch of different teams. Greenville and Evansville just come to mind for ECHL. Who was your favorite team to play with?
In the ECHL, just based on teams, I mean, I spent a lot of time with the Greenville Road Warriors. I guess we got really close there, and just how much time I spent there. Definitely had its ups and downs, but it was enjoyable and really liked the location and area. Nice weather. Definitely as I went to, I think I enjoyed all places, but another one that really sticks out is South Carolina Stingrays, when we had a very, very good team. I was not one of the top players during that run that we had all the way to the Kelly Cup Finals, Game 7. But just to kind of now looking back, as much as I didn't play, as I would have loved to play more and be a bigger part of that team and that. But looking back, it's just all comes down to experience of knowing what a good team feels like, and when everyone is doing their jobs and their roles to go towards a championship. And obviously with our team, we came one game short, losing to Allen Americans. But yeah, just looking back, I really enjoyed South Carolina Stingrays in Charleston. Great place, great weather. Outside, we had our where we lived, our apartments. We had a great lounging area with a pool and all that, so guys could get together, and the weather was unbelievable. And yeah, I think as much as time at the rink and what we're doing with hockey is important, but a lot of the quality of living too is away from the rink, and whether guys are with their wives, girlfriends, who they hang out with, their buddies, and what they're doing, it's really important.
Okay. With the pandemic and everything, what does it mean to you to still be able to be doing hockey camps and coaching those kids?
Yeah, very lucky, very fortunate. Obviously, with what's going on today, is I guess our sports and hockey in general is takes the back seat on everyone's health. Different in every country, and definitely where we are geographically. Luckily, things here, our provincial, which is British Columbia, our doctor, Bonnie Henry, has done a great job of putting all these protocols and guidelines, I guess, to be in place of us to make sure we're not putting anyone in danger to get the the coronavirus. But I think at the same time, people can definitely be a little loose, or some people are strict on what's going on. But we're lucky as players and coaches and parents to have hockey, to be able to go to the rink, exercise, to still work on skill drills, little areas to. Yeah, just, I mean, it's, it comes down to, of course, these young kids want to get better at hockey, but it also comes down to all of us being able to go and do something and I guess essentially exercise. which helps us physically and mentally, and even like emotionally. I feel like I have sat when we had their shutdown, we had to sit in our houses for 2 or 3 months, and that was hard mentally, because it was just such a change that usually you're used to meeting up with friends and using all up that energy that we have built up, that it wasn't being exerted.
Great answer to that one. For your first ever pro game, did your nerves get to you at any point?
In the first ever pro game?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I remember. So I was in Grand Rapids in the AHL with Detroit's farm team. Lots of guys from that team played in the NHL. Abdicator, Tatar, Brad May was the legend there. Goalie Thomas McCollum, Jakob Kindle was my roommate. Lots of guys, and I remember taking warm-ups one time. I didn't actually play the game, but I dressed for warm-ups, did the warm-up, and then got undressed and had to work out. But I remember that one game, I was just like shaking, and just I was a feeling that I couldn't. I can't say I've ever really felt like that ever since then. But I was really nervous and shaking, and even though I knew I wasn't playing, I think it was just different. I don't know what it is. I guess it's my nerves that getting on me, but definitely what I remember, and that is also a really good opportunity and experience for me to learn from.
Would you ever come out of retirement and play in the ECHL again if the team like really needed somebody to fill in the board?
I mean, I definitely wouldn't say no to it, but I think the chances aren't as good, especially this year with with probably a shortened season. But to play pro hockey again, you never know. I think there's many leagues that they're always looking for players. I would love to continue to play. I think at this time right now, it's not looking like it will work out to continue playing. But yeah, I guess I wouldn't say no to. I would definitely listen to offers and any interest.
Would you ever consider coming like to be a bench boss for like a junior team or a professional team and going like pro that way?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've been asked that by many parents and people if I would coach a team, because basically right now I just have development stuff where it's on ice, spring, summer, and then fall, winter, dry land, online coaching, shift analysis, advising, finding players opportunities. And, I just think that part of me wants to be a head coach. It's just at this time, or even assistant coach at this time, it doesn't that's not right with my vision and what I'm trying to create and build. But yeah, it would be awesome to be able to coach in the NHL, maybe skills coach, who knows, assistant coach, head coach, or even in the pros, AHL East Coast. I think who knows, there could be opportunities down the road. I'm not really sure, and things could come full circle. Junior wise, yeah, I work with a lot of players in the junior age, 15 to 20 years old, even in the college age up to 24, 25 years old. We do video analysis and going over some goal setting, what they want to do, how they can approach those things, and kind of consult them on that. But I think as for head coach, assistant coach, yeah, I guess I'm open ears to that. But at this time right now, it's tough with time and that type of commitment that the players deserve also.
What does being a good coach mean to you?
What does a good coach mean to me? I think it's really important. Good coaching these days, from my perspective, is leadership. I think it's really important that the coach or coaches, these individuals, they have a plan. Doesn't mean that you have to be fully experienced on coaching, but to, hold yourself accountable to your actions and professionalism. I think there's a lot of coaches, coaching is such a broad term, and everyone can call themselves a coach, right? Where they're teaching something or someone. And I think that it's really important that the leadership is there to show the people you're coaching or team that you're coaching, and guide them and lead them towards what the goal and what the vision is. It's not always just about winning championship or Stanley Cup or whatever's. Of course, that is part of the job, but I think it's also important that you express with communication to the players, maybe even parents too, of what is going to be done. And lots of things like, will these kids learn how to break out the puck? Will these kids learn how to, in the corners, how they will protect the puck and get away from defenders? Will they learn what at the next level that they should be learning? I find that, dealing with a lot of these coaches that don't even know what the next level is like. Their job is just to win or lose. And I think, based on the hockey industry, I think that can be a better job of is these guys knowing what the next level is like to get these kids that want to work towards that. I mean, I think there's a lot of coaches out there that manipulate players and kids, that they make them think that there is a next level, but there really isn't a next level to someone. They'll just kind of, I guess, lying, which it's all part of business, but I think hockey and coaching can do a better job with that way and be mentors. There could be kids that are 10 years old that are coaches that are mentoring kids that are 7, 8, 9 years old. There could be a younger coach coaching older kids. It happens a lot of different places, including, the pros. There's some young coaches that coach these older guys. And yeah, it just all comes down to, I think, leadership, professionalism. And also they have to have the buy-in from the players. The players have to believe in the coach and what he is preaching, teaching, and essentially what he's selling to the players. You got to believe in that.
I know I had like 15 questions ready for you, but I'm going to go ahead and just combine question 12 and 13 because they're so similar. What would you say your style of coaching is, and who does it mirror the most?
Yeah, that's another really good question. I don't know what my style would be. I'd say more of a player's coach that holds the players accountable. I like to confront the players when, I'm not happy with something that they do because it's not going to help them further down the road. A lot of players, I find that they think they know a lot when they know little because they haven't reached those next levels yet. They think they know everything. I've been a player like that myself in different times, of course. I'm like, I think I know it. But I think a big part of that is that players, these coaches are so all over us because of the business and how everything, it's the pressure to win, that you feel like they make you feel like you don't know anything. So a lot of players feel like they're protecting themselves of, being called dumb or that you don't know these things. I think players try to act like that to show that they know a lot more than what they're being, perceived as or looked at. So yeah, I just think I'm a player's coach and try to be the best version of myself and a leader that I've seen. I've been coached by many really good coaches that have a lot of respect at the high levels in the NHL and all that. Mike Keenan was there for a couple months of training camp, and I learned quite a bit from him and his styles. And I've learned Kurt Fraser, who was in Grand Rapids and also with the Kunlun Red Star. And then I've had Neil Smith, who was the owner of our ECHL team, and he's one of my references. I think it's great that he. I talk to him, every once in a while, and just being involved in all these guys that have done it. They've won Stanley Cups. They know what it takes. They know what they want. They know the players that they want and what will lead to their success. So I don't know who I would say my style is like. I don't think I could put a name on that at all. Is this just kind of who I am? I definitely have taken
style.
Sorry?
You're your own style.
Yeah, own style. But I think it's also, I've been lucky to have these coaches that have coached me, and also relationships, I guess, and connections that I've had to interact with them. And I've learned how they talk to players, how they manipulate the players, how they are, why and how they're so successful, and why they're respected. Um, and yeah, I think there's lots of names that I could toss around that I've learned from. Honestly, I've even learned some who I consider not very good coaches. There's guys even where I'm from in Victoria that people say, oh, he's a good coach, but really personally, I don't think they're that good of coaches. They're good. They're every coach is good at something. We strengths and weaknesses, but yeah, based on where I've traveled over the past however many years, I don't know, 27 years, I think, of playing hockey, whether it be locally or in Vancouver area or in the US for 10 years and overseas for 5 or 6 years. There's a lot of different things out there that I've been able to compare to. So I just try and do my best to provide the best version of myself, with all these guys' different strategies, tactics, and manipulations, and what I've seen.
What is your favorite position to coach? Forward, defense, goaltender?
Well, since I was a forward, I think I like to coach forwards just to try and teach the offensive side for sure. As I found I was a goal scorer my career, and I was always able to put up numbers. But also too, I think these days it's really a lot of players is all about the offense and goals and assists, but it's very rare to become a Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid and those top end guys to be high point guys. So I think these days I really like, to encourage and motivate them to be offensive, but really teach and try to prove to them and have them understand how important the defensive side is when you don't have the puck, how you're checking players, how you need to be responsible in your defensive zone. Back checking shows a lot to not yourself, but the team. I think that's one of my big areas and challenges that I like and I enjoy when dealing with the players.
You can't do the Brad Marchand Stanley Cup final line change.
What's that?
You can't be doing the Brad Marchand Stanley Cup final line change.
Line change?
Remember how it led to a goal immediately, like maybe 2 seconds after he got off the ice?
Was that a couple years ago?
Yeah, I think it was for this one. It was before Tampa Bay was in it.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. Who was your role model when you were playing? It could be a couple people. It could be one person. It's really up to you who you think you resemble.
Yeah, so my role models, I think both my parents were a big part of when I was young. They obviously led the way and guided me up. I found that went really well on that end. And as I got up, I always had, like I said, mentors, guys I looked up to, influences. One guy, like I said, Martin Korea, who I talked about, who lived with us, definitely someone I looked up to. Who else is there? I would even say my brother and sister, being around them, we used to play a lot. My cousins, close cousins, Carson and Jared, that we all played lots of sports, driveway, hockey, basketball, backyard baseball. We just continually were always playing sports, and just trying to have fun and that type of stuff. And then I guess as I got older, my close friends are people that I look up to. Obviously they have very positive things. I enjoy being around them and that stuff. So yeah, I've had teachers as well that really close with a couple of teachers that I've had that I look up to, ask questions about. They're always interested in how my life and hockey's going. But yeah, I think there's lots of guys that I look up to. Paul Krea was one of my idols for playing wise. he was just the way he played, the way he was someone to look up for. And then even like a guy, Marcus Naslin with the Canucks, he was a captain, pure goal scorer. Really enjoyed that side, watching him and how he played the game. And all these other greats, just kind of watching, I guess, from TV. Joe Sakic, Steve Yzerman, Brett Hall, who's a goal scorer, and all these guys.
That's really all the questions I have for you. Do you want to talk about your merch or talk about where the viewers can find you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so I'm running Brandon Wong Hockey, coaching, development, advising. Work with all, whether it's players, parents, coaches, just giving my perspective, my advice on how to reach goals and dreams, whether it's to play AAA, to play juniors, college, pros, or even make it to the NHL one day. Players, it's so competitive in the industry, and definitely what I went through, that if you want to be a player, you gotta really get your act together and commit to what you want to do and putting the work in. That's number one. There's a lot of players out there that are practice players and guys that want to talk big about where they want to get to, but they don't show it by putting the time in, or that grunt work and all that sweat. That's one of the biggest things. I think if you want anything, and doesn't have to be with hockey, sports, or that, but you got to put the work in and learn and build on your own skills and that stuff. So yeah, and then merchandise wise, I mean, I have these jerseys up here. You're wearing the BW hat. I think I have 3 or 4 different hats for sale, and workout gear. Nothing on no online store yet, but hoping to get that up real soon.
Thank you for your time. I hope you have a marvelous day, and stay safe.
Thanks a lot there, Nathan. Thanks.
You're welcome. See ya.